continue on with our next presenter, Scott Randles. Scott works for Allstate Benefits, and amongst his many titles and high-level position at Allstate, Scott is also an active community volunteer, and his passion is working with young folks to help them realize their potential. And Scott's going to talk to us today about taking initiative. So you can sort of get the theme today, starting with Andre, and we're going to continue on with Scott. And welcome, Scott.
Definitely a tough act to follow. So I'm humbled by that, and I think that, as speaking here, we get a lot more just out of hearing what you're doing, just as much as you're hearing what we're doing. So thanks for the opportunity. As I said, I'm Scott Randles. I'm going to come from a business perspective because that's what I've been doing. I've been an actuary for the last 15 years. So I brought lots of chocolate so that, if you guys, policy, we like to talk a lot of numbers in the actuary world, lots of figures. So I will have chocolate to make sure you guys keep it moving. What I'm going to talk about today is taking initiative. In the business world, in my experience, there's a big lack of people that can take initiative. And it's something that I wish someone would talk to me about when I was your age. And I think it's something that I've had to learn over the years. But, taking initiative can be so important, not only in the business world, but your personal life, as well as no matter what you want to do. And so I'm going to come from a different perspective. There's lots of different ways you can take initiative in your life. You can be an innovator like Bill Gates, or you could put Facebook together. But I've got 3 challenges here that I'm going to focus on today about how to take initiative to reach your full potential. These are 3 things that I thought were important to me, and that's why I wanted to share with you today. I think that, I remember when I was young and I played soccer. I learned this early on that the ball doesn't naturally just happen by you very often. If you don't take initiative to actually go get it, then very few chances that you're actually going to get a chance to kick it. And I think that's the same thing in the business world as well as your personal life. You've got to make sure that you take initiative to get what you want and making sure that you take control of your future. So starting with this, I've got some pictures here to try to get a little bit of interaction with you. So I'm going to throw some questions out and hopefully wake you up some. But first of all, the first challenge that I have is encompassed by this picture. Who can tell me what this picture is of?
Japan actor,
Tsunami. So I've got chocolate. I'm going to throw it. So not well, by the way, but you are correct. And why I like this picture is because you see a man here standing in this sea of rubble with a boat. His whole life has been destroyed by this tsunami, or so he thinks. And I think that this picture encompasses my first point, because I think that's a lot of times how you can feel. Whether you're in school, in high school, or in the business world, or in family, that sometimes it appears that life is completely crashing around you. So my first point is you've got to take initiative to persevere through tough times and difficult situations. Andre was a great setup to this point because a lot of your poems touched on this. But tough times are inevitable, unpredictable, and different for every person. And I think that is important because I think what I've learned in the business world is that you're going to have difficulty, whether in your career, or whether you're studying, or whether in your personal life. And so it's not a chance of, is it going to happen? But it's when. And you've got to be prepared in advance and learn to take initiative to prepare for that. It's also unpredictable. Just like the Japan tsunami, there is no chance that they knew that was coming. And isn't life a lot like that a lot of the time? And it's different for every person. Your situation is going to be a lot different than mine, and mine's going to be different than yours. And so no one can tell you exactly how to respond. But the important thing is you've got to learn to take initiative to respond. Second point I've got here is you can choose to be the victim or the victor. You see a lot of this in the business world. people often choose the easy path of being the victim. Where they are using excuses from their past and their situations. Now, many of them have been difficult, but to be the victim rather than overcoming it and moving forward. I've got a friend named Sam who in 2011 went bankrupt, lost his house, had a health scare, and got his salary cut in half. That's difficult. He's a good friend, and it's tough to know what to say to him because that's a situation that was unpredictable for him. But Sam has learned that in that situation, he could find some positives in his life and move forward. And I respect that, and I've learned from that. And I think that we all have that same type of opportunity in our lives, whether it's getting an F in chemistry or if it's doing something in your personal life. You can choose to overcome it, or you can choose to be the victim. My second point, or third point, nobody ever gets ahead in life by blaming others for their circumstances. So, I conducted an interview for someone who was coming to look to work for us, and I asked them about their grades they got in college, and they immediately started talking about, I know I got a C in this class, but the teacher wasn't very good. I was trying to work 40 hours a week. I had a lot of going on. Do you think that person got the job? No. It's easy to blame others or your circumstances in your life, but it's the people in the business world that we look for that are solution makers. That don't say, oh, I didn't get this project done because the IT department didn't deliver or because the computer failed. It's the people who overcome those challenges that are successful in the business world and successful in life. So at the end here, and each one of these, I've got, I dare you to take initiative. And I put I dare you because I find that teenagers especially listen more carefully when we start with I dare you. So that's what I'm going to say. So I dare you to take initiative to determine in advance that you will live with an eye on the future, no matter how bad your past or current circumstances are. So I find that a lot of people get hung up and are never able to overcome either their situation or their circumstances that hinders them in the business world and in life. And it's those people that can kind of look beyond that and live for the future that I think that can overcome and be successful business people and successful in their own life. So I'm going to stop there and ask you, well, how do you do that? That sounds good. It sounds cliche to overcome tough situations. But how do you do that? What are some practical things that you can do when bad things are happening to keep your eye on the future? Any thoughts?
I think part of it is what you said before, is to know that things are going to happen. And when that does happen, that you can weather the storm, and get past it, and come out swinging after it.
That's a good one. Think about Japan. What did you, when you watch the news, or whether it's the tornado in Joplin or the tsunami in Japan, what do you see people doing? I see a lot of people helping. Their whole house has been destroyed, but they're out there in their neighborhood looking for the cat, they're in there volunteering and helping. So I think that's one thing that's good about this organization, is when tough times are happening, one of the best things to do is to help and volunteer other people. Because by giving back, you're less focused on yourself and you're more focused on helping others and moving forward to the future. So that's another one to head down there. And I think it's also starting with the little things. It's learning to take initiative to keep your eye on the future for the little things. My daughter was going on a field trip this last week, and again, it sounded minor to me, but it was big to her. So she got on the wrong band. All of her friends were on one band, and for the whole field trip, she was on a band with people she didn't know and didn't particularly like. And you can imagine that field trip did not go well for her, and I heard a lot about it. But it kind of struck me as I was putting this presentation together, it's like, man, she missed the boat on that. You had an initiative to, one, you ruined your trip. You didn't have an opportunity to meet new people, which you didn't take advantage of. And it was an opportunity lost, where instead, if she would have taken a chance to get out there, meet people, she would have had a better time and also maybe have made new friends. That's a little example, but I think by taking initiative in the little things,